You know that feeling when you're really trying to get something new, maybe like learning English, and it just feels hard. Like
Yeah.
you've hit a kind of wall. We've all been there, I think. That little voice, the doubt, it can creep in.
Mm.
But what if you could actually sort of turn down that negativity? Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, the power of positive thinking, especially for you right now on your English learning journey.
Exactly. We've been looking at some really interesting stuff that shows how your mindset, it's not just some vague idea,
Yeah.
right? It's fundamental.
Yes.
It really drives how well you learn, how you progress with English.
Okay.
So we're going to explore what positive thinking actually is in this context, why it gives you such real benefits for learning a language. We'll look at a great real-world
Oh,
example,
good.
guide you through practicing some positive affirmations at work, and give you some practical tips,
Yeah.
strategies to keep that positive outlook going. The goal really is to give you actionable insights, things you can do to build that positive mindset and, well, seriously boost your English learning.
Okay, so positive thinking. When we say that, what does it actually mean for someone learning English? It's not just like putting on a brave face when you mess up a word is
Oh, exactly. It's deeper than just, superficial optimism. Fundamentally, positive thinking here means consciously choosing to focus on the good parts of your learning
okay.
and actively deciding to believe in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
believe in your ability to learn and get better, even when things are inevitably difficult. It's a choice, really, to focus on your potential for growth in English.
So acknowledging the tough bits, but not letting them sort of take over everything.
Absolutely. Spot on. You recognize those moments, the frustration, the confusion, but you don't let them define the whole experience.
Hmm.
Instead of dwelling on what's hard,
Right.
a positive mindset pushes you to look for solutions, see challenges as chances to learn, and keep hold of that underlying belief that you can master the language eventually.
Mm.
And this involves a few key things. We talk about building a positive mindset, that general tendency to see the good. Then there's self-belief, which is that um, core trust in your own
Expert
abilities,
belief, yeah.
and resilience,
Yeah.
which is just so vital for language learning. It's your ability to bounce back after mistakes, keep going even when you have setbacks.
Mindset, self-belief, resilience. Okay, I can see how they connect. So let's get specific. How does having that positive mindset, that self-belief and resilience actually help someone speak English better? What's the direct link?
Well, think about those really common experiences for English learners. Feeling nervous about speaking,
Oh, yeah.
worrying too much about making mistakes with grammar,
Yeah.
or just getting discouraged when understanding feels like a struggle. A positive mindset tackles these head on.
How so?
It lets you reframe things, put a more constructive spin on them. So, for instance, instead of seeing a mistake as, proof you're bad at English,
Mm-hmm.
a positive view helps you see it for what it is. Just a normal, necessary step in learning. It's valuable feedback, really.
Right. It's like changing that inner voice from, oh, great, I got it wrong again, to, okay, noted, got it wrong. Now I know for next time.
Precisely. It builds what psychologists call a growth mindset. This idea that your abilities aren't fixed, you can develop them with effort. And this is where positive self-talk becomes so powerful.
The things you tell yourself.
Exactly. That internal chat you have, it hugely impacts your confidence, your willingness to even try using the language. So instead of thinking, huh, I can never remember vocabulary,
Yeah.
you can consciously switch to, I am actively building my vocabulary every single day. Or if you feel nervous before speaking, you can tell yourself, I'm becoming a more confident speaker with every chat. Or even just, I believe in my progress.
Yeah.
Using these internal affirmations regularly, it can really boost your confidence and keep you motivated.
That totally makes sense. It's like you're reprogramming your brain to focus on getting better on the potential instead of just getting stuck on the problems. And you had a great phrase for this idea of focusing on improvement, didn't you?
Yes, our phrase of the day today is progress, not perfection.
Ah, I like that.
It's such a key idea for anyone learning a language. It's a reminder that the real value is in just getting better bit by bit, No
Right.
matter how small the steps feel.
Right.
If you get obsessed with being perfect right away,
Huh.
it can actually slow you down because you become scared of making those mistakes, which, like we said, you need to make to learn. Embracing progress, noticing the small wins,
Yeah.
that keeps you going.
Progress, not perfection. Yeah, I think that's something every learner could probably use. Now, you mentioned a real life story that really showed this working. Can you share that?
Yes, we found this really insightful story about a student in Japan. They'd been studying English quite hard, but really lacked confidence when it came to actually speaking it.
Hmm.
They used a strong word, actually, describing how they felt trying to talk in English, stupid. That feeling of being inadequate, even after studying. It's something, unfortunately, a lot of language learners can relate to.
Oh, absolutely. It takes real guts, doesn't it? Real vulnerability to just speak in another language.
It really does. So this student decided to try something simple,
Yeah.
consistently using positive affirmations. Every morning, just repeating a few short, encouraging sentences.
Okay.
The focus wasn't on perfect grammar or pronunciation at that point. It was purely about building a more positive, encouraging story inside their head about learning and speaking English.
And what happened? Did it actually change things for them?
Well, it wasn't like flipping a switch,
Yeah.
instant fluency.
Yeah.
But over several weeks, there was a definite shift. They felt less self-conscious. Their
Hmm.
confidence visibly grew. And the result was they started trying to talk more, joining in conversations more, even knowing their grammar wasn't perfect.
Wow.
The key takeaway is their willingness to communicate shot up.
Hmm.
And that courage came directly from deliberately changing their internal thoughts. It really highlights that, especially early on, the courage to try.
Yeah.
That's often more important for actually communicating than getting every grammatical detail right.
That's a fantastic example of how your mindset can directly influence your actions and ultimately your improvement. So, for listeners who want to start using this, how can they start putting positive affirmations into their own English learning? You said we could even try some now.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's take a moment for a quick practice. I'll say a positive affirmation for English learning, and I really encourage you listening to repeat it aloud if you can, or just silently to yourself. Okay, let's start with this one. I'm becoming a more fluent English speaker every day.
I am becoming a more fluent English speaker every day.
Great. Next, every time I practice English, I get better.
Every time I practice English, I get better.
I am capable of understanding and speaking English.
I am capable of understanding and speaking English.
And one more. I embrace the challenges of learning English as opportunities for growth.
I embrace the challenges of learning English as opportunities for growth.
Fantastic. Making this a regular thing, even just for a couple of minutes daily, it really adds up. It has a cumulative effect on your mindset, your confidence. Yeah.
You can fit these into your morning routine, maybe say them in the mirror, or jot them down in a journal to reinforce them, or just repeat them mentally during the day, especially if you feel negative thoughts starting to creep in.
Right.
And thinking about dealing with challenges, finding the good. There's a great English idiom for this. Every cloud has a silver lining.
Ah, yes.
It just reminds us that even when things seem tough or negative, there's often something positive, some valuable lesson hidden in there if we actually look for it.
Every cloud has a silver lining. That's a good one to remember. So besides the affirmations, what other sort of concrete, practical things can listeners do to build and keep this positive mindset going while they learn English?
Yeah, there are several really practical strategies. One that's simple but really effective is making a point, maybe each evening, to write down 3 things you did well in your English that day.
3 things.
Okay.
Could be anything. Understanding a new phrase in a show, having a short chat, finishing a tricky grammar exercise, even just spending focused time studying. When you consciously notice your progress, however small,
Mm-hmm.
it reinforces that positive feeling and builds that sense of achievement. Another really good tip is to deliberately find and watch or listen to motivational stuff in English.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like inspiring talks from people who learned languages successfully, positive podcasts, interviews, or even just enjoyable English videos about your hobbies. Keeps you engaged, feeling connected, and reinforces that, hey, learning English is doable and rewarding.
Right.
And lastly, try this. Make it a daily habit to say at least one sentence in English out loud each morning. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't need an audience. Just the act of using your voice for English. It builds confidence, makes speaking feel a bit more normal, less scary over time.
Those are all really great practical ideas. And I think that point about being kind to yourself, patient, that's so important, isn't it? It's easy to beat yourself up, but like we've been saying, it really is a journey. There are ups and downs.
Absolutely. Self-compassion is just crucial for sticking with it long term and actually having a positive experience. You will hit frustrating moments, times where progress feels slow, times you feel you're not improving fast enough.
Yeah.
If you can view learning as this ongoing journey, exploring and growing, rather than some big test you pass or fail,
Mm-hmm.
it takes so much pressure off.
Mm.
And it lets you actually appreciate and celebrate those small wins along the way.
So, just to wrap things up a bit, today we've really dug into this idea of positive thinking for learning English. We talked about
Okay.
what it means focusing on the good, building self belief, even when it's tough.
Mm.
We explored why it's so helpful seeing mistakes as learning chances, pushing through difficulties. We heard that inspiring story about affirmations boosting
Right,
confidence.
the student in Japan.
And we practiced some affirmations ourselves. And you give us some really useful practical tips for staying positive, like noting daily wins and being kind to ourselves.
And the core message, the main thing we hope you take away is just how strong that link is between a positive mindset and actually getting better at English. When you truly believe you can learn, when you face challenges with optimism and treat yourself kindly, you just create a much better environment for yourself to grow and succeed.
So, your mission, should you choose to accept it, listener, is to really start feeding that positive inner voice. Approach your English learning with encouragement, belief, and definitely a good measure of self compassion.
And building on that, here's a final thought for you to maybe mull over. Think about one specific limiting belief you have right now about your English. Maybe it's my pronunciation just isn't good enough, or I'll never understand fast native speakers.
Now, really try consciously to reframe that exact belief. Flip it into something positive, something empowering. How could you look at that same thing from a growth perspective? Perhaps it becomes pronunciation's a skill I'm actively practicing and improving, or understanding native speakers takes time and exposure, and I'm getting more exposure every day. Just take a moment. Consider how that deliberate shift, changing that perspective, might open up new doors and speed up your progress in ways you maybe haven't even considered yet.